Namaste and welcome back. In the last video, the basic concepts of information security. It's 5 pillars such as confidentiality, integrity, availability, authentication, and non-repudiation concepts have been seen. In addition to this, we have also seen the differences between the assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and risks. Then we have moved on to the top information security threats such as insider threats, botnets, virus and worms, mobile application threats, cloud-based threats, IoT-based application threats, and persistent threats, which are identified as the top information security threats by various security researchers. Then we moved on to the concepts of categorizing of these security threats. These security threats are divided into 3 major categories such as network threats, host threats, and application threats. Basically, threat is a drawback or a loophole or a problem that exists in the network or system or application, so that the attacker will try to identify these threats and will exploit these threats so that the related attacks can be launched. Next, the concept of hacking. What is meant by hacking and what are the intentions of hacking? That means the basic objectives of the hackers have been discussed. Basically, hacking is the process of gaining unauthorized access into system or network resources. So how the hacker will gain this unauthorized access? A brief description and related definitions have been seen in the last video. In this video, we will see the concepts of or the categories of hacking or hackers. That means how many categories are available in the hacker community. That is based upon the proficiency skills of the hacker, in how many ways or in how many categories the hackers are divided. Then what are the root causes of happening this particular hacking activity, such as the vigorous use of internet or in what way these hackers will enter into the organizational networks or a particular personal computer or a mobile phone. These kind of concepts we'll see in this particular video. Further, we will also see the concepts such as top information security branches or data branches happened across the world, at the same time across India. That to have a motivation that why this particular ethical hacking is important. First of all, it is very essential for us to understand the losses that our country and many of the organizations across the world are facing because of this particular hacking activity. So to this end, in this video I will be explaining what are the data branches, what are the top data branches happened from past decade, 2 to 3 decades, will be explained in this particular video. Next I am going to explain how the hacker will perform this particular hacking activity. What are the steps followed by the hacker to perform the hacking activity will be discussed in this particular video. That is, what are the different steps he will follow to perform the hacking activity. Because this particular procedure is very important to understand by every ethical hacker to make or to go for identification of the hacker's mind or to assess the hacker's mind, these steps understanding is very, very important. So that is the reason I'm going to discuss these steps, or we can say hacking steps in detail in this particular video. So let us start. So what is hacking? Hacking is unauthorized access or gaining unauthorized access into a computer by the intruder. Basically, this intrusion is aiming to modify the system or applications. So the ultimate aim of any hacker is to gain the as much as information possible from the attacked system or attacked network, thereby to cause business loss or some serious loss to the organization. So the ultimate aim of hackers is to gain the information about the organization. Basically, how these hackers will behave. Who are these hackers? Hackers are like our normal human beings. Okay, they will be mingled with the society and they will do normal activities like what we'll do. So, but there are based upon their profession and based upon their skill set, these hackers are divided into three broad categories. First category is elementary category. In this elementary category, the hackers don't have a high skill set. However, to gain some knowledge, they try to do some hacking activity, just like scanning the ports on a network or to poke some related things, hacking related things on a network. These kind of things they will do. They don't have in-depth knowledge, but they will try to get some. They want to gain some knowledge out of after doing these particular activities. Some hackers will be there. It is by hobby they do these hacking activities. They do their professional activities at the same time as a hobby, like how we have hobby of singing, dancing, etc. Like that, they are having the hobby of hacking activity. So hacking and third category deals with the people who are dedicated, having excellent computer and technical skills, with the ability to create or write their own malwares, their own what you call scripts for capturing or for gaining the data of any organization network. Okay, these kind of skills they possess, those are said to be the professional hackers. So like this, three categories were divided. At the same time, not only these three broad categories, but based upon their skill set, intention, objective of performing hacking, these hackers are broadly classified into various classes, just like how we have a general class, lower class, upper class, like this. So in the same way, these hacker classes have been divided. We'll see what are these hacker classes. So first one is black hat hackers, or we can say black hat class hackers. These people are having the extraordinary technical and computing skills. They can write their own malicious codes, and they can write some destructive codes, and they can also have their own they can also create their own tools for attacking a target system. So that means they are very highly professional. They can do anything with the networks. So these kind of people are black hats. Next one is white hats. These are also professionals, but they use their skills for the defensive purpose. Where in case of black hats, they will do the activity for the offensive purpose. where in case of white hat hackers will do the or will utilize their technical and computing skills or hacking skills for the defensive purpose. So they also use they are also called as security analysts. Usually these people will be hired by the companies for analyzing their security of the applications that they developed. So these are the qualities possessed by the white hat hackers. While coming to the gray hat hackers, they have the features of both black hat and white hat. So they do both offensive things and defensive things. So such people are said to be gray hat hackers. Where next category is script kiddies. So these script kiddies are like us, who are having who are having the elementary knowledge, or who are very beginners in the field of hacking. They do small scannings, like port scanning, and just via some small simulation tools they do this they perform this particular hacking activities, and they don't have much or in-depth computer or technical skills or hacking skills to proceed further. So such people are said to be script kiddies. Anyhow, how many tools you learn or how many techniques you learn, we need to be proficient in understanding the networks. We should also proficient in understanding the vulnerabilities, and we should also write our own scripts instead of depending on the already available tools. When a person reaches to that level, such people people are said to be professional people in hacking. So that is the reason, till the time means here, till the time you write your own code or your own script or develop your own tool, you will be called as script kiddie only. That means even after having 1 or 2 years experience in these activities also, if you are unable to do your own scripting of intrusion, okay, then till the time you are said to be script kiddie only. Where in case of suicide hackers, cyber terrorists, hacktivists, state sponsored hackers are very professional, but depending upon their objective, these categories were decided. Suicide hackers are very serious hackers. They want to face any kind of punishment, but they want to hack the network. Where in case of cyber terrorists, usually these cyber terrorists will always be in the cyberspace, and they are religiously and politically motivated people, and they want to gain their religious and political ambitions by performing these hacking activities. Another category is hacktivists. Usually these hacktivists is another name, or we can say this name has came from the activists. Usually they always go for protesting on streets for some cause or something. They have their own objectives for doing this particular activities. So in the same way, these hacktivists are hackers who promote political agendas. So they have always a political agenda in their mind, and they want to promote their political ambitions or political ideas to the public. Next one is state-sponsored hackers. These are the hackers especially hired by the governments to perform various hacking activities. So these are the various classes available in the hacking or hacker categories. Depending upon their objective, depending upon their intention, these hacking classes will be assigned to those people. So far we have seen these classes of hacking activities, but what is the root cause of this hacking? How a hacker or intruder can enter into anyone's computer or network? What is the root cause of this particular thing? Let will investigate some, or let will invest some time on this. What is the reason behind this, and for because of what reasons, or because of what technical things that intruder or a hacker can attack the computer or a target network. Entry point of any hacking activity is the internet usage, because in internet many computers are connected together. That is, under internet the entire world become one, or the entire world become a small place, because all the computers are connected over the internet, and anyone can communicate with anyone with the help of this particular internet. So this is the main source for the hackers to enter into any organizational network or any personal computer. 42 billion people across the world are using the internet. Because of the advances in technology, especially in the communication and satellite technology, the internet cost become very cheaper and cheaper, and even a common user, a common public can also be in a position to afford the prices of internet, and they are subscribing to the internet service providers. Especially if you look at the statistics of the 2018 and 19, there is an increase of 7% internet users from 2018 to 2019. In India especially, the number of internet users have been increased rapidly from the past 5 years. That is, from 2015 to till date, that is by the mid-June of 2020, the number of internet users have been increased rapidly. According to the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, trend of total wireless telephone subscribers and the total wireless data subscribers have been significantly increased. So this is the diagram, or this is a figure taken from the TRAI website. So if you look at in 2014, the number of subscribers, the number of wireless subscribers and number of data subscribers. So this is the percentage. But if you in 2018, end of 2018, this was drastically changed or drastically increased. So as the number of wireless data subscribers increases, obviously the number of users who connected over the internet also increases. And other things like the main use of internet has came up with the central government initiatives such as Digital India, given a push to use a huge number of digital devices with the internet connectivity by the public. All the government related forms, etc. Are available over the internet, and any kind of grievance, redressals, applications, enrollments, everything is happening over the internet. At the same time, the revenue transactions, especially like digital payments, are also increased. For all these digital payments, digital interactions, digital services, internet is the main source. Increased connectivity is leading into the expansion of the usage of the network, or the expansion of the user base. So in these users, we can also say that hackers may be included. And other connectivity increase is with the rapid growth of users in social media sites, especially like politicians, governments are using social media platforms to reach public. So even the prime ministers, chief ministers, and chief minister offices, prime minister offices, the minister offices, everyone is maintaining their own social media accounts, and public are directly posting their grievances or grievances, etc., over the social media. Immediately the reply is coming from over the social media. These are the activities happening from the past 3-4 years vigorously over the internet. Over 5 million YouTube videos are viewed for every 60 seconds. Or over 3 million searches are made in Google for every 60 seconds. Like this, many more. So, as these are the statistics. These are the statistics that are revealing that huge usage is there in the internet. If we go to some more statistics in 2019, what has happened in an internet in a minute time? So if you look at in a 60 seconds of time, what is the connectivity with various media platforms? Like in Facebook, 1 million logins are happening for every minute. In YouTube, around 4.5 million videos are viewed, and in case of Google Play Store, more than 3 million apps are downloaded. And like this, Instagram, Twitter, like this, so many other media platforms, social media platforms are used by the public vigorously in every 60 seconds. So, the rapid growth of online and mobile based payments in India is also one source that the internet usage has been an integral part of daily life, and this is also a main source to increase the connectivity. Nowadays, even at the vendors at the lower level, like street vendors, the vegetable sellers, everyone is using their Paytm or Bheem or PhonePe QR code or Google Pay QR code to accept the digital payments. At the same time, internet data for cheaper cost availability in many countries also led to this increased connectivity. So when this increased connectivity is available, obviously there will be people who are using for good cause and also for the bad cause. So whenever anyone uses this particular connectivity or exploit these connectivities for the bad cause, obviously they are the intruders. So that is reason more connectivity means more threats. So this is what the basic thing behind the intrusion into any network. So the internet is the main source for entering into any organizational network or any personal computer by the intruder. To gain more understanding, let us go to the recent hacking cases that was happened across the world and also in India. Here a link which is giving us the 5 biggest data hacks of 2019. So let us follow these links. Here there are the 5 biggest data hacks of 2019 which was given in this particular link. So here hackers have accessed more than 7.9 billion consumer records for this particular year. So in this first one is Quest Diagnostics. So this is a diagnostic performing company. So this lab testing company, this is for diagnostic services, and this company mentioned that about 11.9 million customers data was leaked from over the course of 8 months. So this is what the statistics mentioned by this particular company. Next is House is one more thing, that where 48.9 million million records have been leaked out. Another is Capital One, where around 100 million records were leaked out. And next one is Dump Smash. Around 161.5 million records, users' account holder names were leaked out. Next one is Zynga, which is around 218 million records, customer records were taken out. So these are the data branches that happen in this particular 2019. These are the 5 biggest data branches. So according to CSO India, here article was published. This is the 15 biggest data breaches of the 21st century. That was mentioned on 17th April 2020. Here, because data breaches in the sense the hacker will try to gain the control of the database of the particular organization or a particular service providing website, and they will try to get out all the information of the customers in that particular company or organization, or maybe by the in the particular consultancy. So this particular page given an article of the biggest data breaches in the 21st century. Here a list of 15 companies were given, how the data was breached because of the web application vulnerabilities or web vulnerabilities available, or website related vulnerabilities available in their sites. Being the biggest country and largest democracy with a huge population, obviously the number of users are more in India compared to the other countries. And this particular TestBytes website has provided an article consisting of major cyber attacks on India in 2018. Basically, if you read this particular article, it is so alarming that how many different attacks were performed on the Indian websites and Indian organizations. Here, there are various other attacks with the snapshot of the news articles were also given here, like SIM-swap fraud that was happened in 2018 after the upgradation from the 3G to 4G in our country. Next is cyber attacks on the Cosmos Bank. What happened? That is how the fraud was happened on this particular banking site. Next one is ATM system hack in Kolkata. How it was happened? The detailed description was given here. So these are the website. These are the links that I have already provided in the slides. So I recommend you to go through these links so that you will gain more information about what happened actually on our Indian companies, and not only Indian companies but any other companies. So because of what reasons this particular hacking was performed or hacking was happened. Here is another source which was given by the Print, in which the article title was like this: the India was the most cyber attacked country in the world for 3 months in 2019. So obviously everyone will accept, but India is the most targeted point by many of the cyber attackers because the cyber terrorists which are sitting outside of the country or don't want the development of the India, maybe of any other their political and other reasons. So as we have discussed in the previous thing, that how the hackers will behave based upon their objectives, how they are classified. So based upon their objectives and intentions, these activities will be performed, because here the more user data or user base available in this country, that is especially in our India. So that is the reason this is the hotspot for many of the cyber attackers and other hackers to target our Indian companies or Indian websites. So here the country, how the country's targeted India. So these are the various attacks from other places. So that this particular article has given completely how these attacks was happened, or how many different security attacks were launched by the hackers from outside of the country. Here is another interesting case. Recently, from March 22nd onwards, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the lockdown was announced by the central government. Because of this lockdown, everyone is staying at their home, and other activities are happening over the internet. General business activities, education activities are started happening over the internet in India. But hackers are very busy in attacking databases of India's COVID-19 patients and potential suspects. So that means hackers don't have this, because we cannot predict the intention of the hackers, whether they are doing for money purpose, or for any threatening purpose, or this kind of intentions cannot be predicted before. So the hackers aim is to get some data out of the organization. So in the same way here, this beautiful article was given in this particular link, CISOmag.com website. So it was happened in Kerala state of India. Here is Kerala is first when the COVID-19 lockdown was announced. Kerala state is the first worst hit state in India for the COVID-19 crisis. So there, this particular attack was launched to get the information of the COVID-19 patients and some other potential suspects. So this is a quite interesting article. You may go through this. I recommend you to go through this article. Thereby you can assess the intention of the hackers, for what purpose they do this particular data breaches, or the data extraction from various web servers or database servers. So these are the few recent cases that was happened. The hacking activities happened on Indian websites and some other websites over the world. So these are the only few things few cases that I have mentioned here. Like this, every year huge number of cyber security attacks will happen. So some are recorded, some are not recorded, some are documented, but by and large, huge number of attacks are happening every year, every day also. That means we cannot count over the year. For every day, this kind of attacks are happening. So that reason, it is very essential for a computer science and information technology student to be aware of the reasons behind this hacking intentions, or the reasons behind, or the technical details behind this hacking activities. So that is the reason this course will give us the elementary knowledge of why this hacking activity happened, or hacking activities are going to be happened, and what are the preventive steps, or what are the countermeasures that we need to follow at least to safeguard our systems and our organizational networks from such kind of intrusion activities. Now we'll see the hacking phases. That means what are the different steps followed by the hacker to attack a target system or a network. So these are the target hacking phases. By and large, any hacker will follow these hacking phases. The phases of hacking are like this. The first phase is reconnaissance. Second one is scanning. Third phase or third step is after scanning, the third step is gaining the access to the network. Once the access was gained, then the hacker will enter into the step 4. This gained access will be maintained. How long they will maintain? The maintaining of the access will be happened till the attacker get all his information. Once the access was maintained and his required things was grabbed by the attacker, then finally he will try to hide the tracks. That means in what manner he entered into the network, those tracks will be hidden or try to covered by the attacker. Now we'll see these phases in detail. So in this, the hacker will try to gain the information. The information may be like what is the internal IP addresses used, or what could be the DNS server name or DNS related names and IP addresses, what could be the mail ID, or what could be the domain names of the organization, or how many clients are there in the for the particular organization, or how many employees are there in the organization, what are the different operations that are performed in that organization, or what type of network used, or what type of systems used in the particular organization. Or they also try to identify what is the target IP ranges, or they will go into the broad scale that what could be the entry point into the organization, what are the different routers used, switches used, or servers used. Okay, these kind of information will be gathered by the attacker before launching any attack. So this information gathering will be done in a passive way or active way. Passive way in the sense the attacker or intruder will not directly involve, but from some other sources he will try to get the information, such as by browsing the websites, or from by searching into the public records, or like their public statements or annual reports, or maybe any other general publicly available information, or publicly available resources or sources. They will try to acquire the information. Next one is active one. Active one means that attacker will directly involve in getting the information. Like for example, what is the toll-free number, or what is the help desk, who is the director of the company, or who is the manager, this information, and what is his email ID. Okay, these kind of things he will directly get the by involving into the system. So in this reconnaissance phase, attacker will try to get the information or gather the information actively or passively, such as the network ranges, IP ranges, number of employees, what is the help desk, what is the toll-free numbers, what is the domain names, what are the emails, email extensions, type of email they use, what type of service they use, SMTP or any POP3 or any other services, or the type of web services, web applications. Okay, many other sources they will try to gather. So based on that, they will figure out in what way they need to try. They need to sketch their next plans. So after gathering this information, they move on to they will find out they will pick up the technical aspects, such as the ranges of the IPs or the applications, that are running on the web servers or database servers, they will come to know about the devices used there, like routers, switches, etc. So based on that, they will move on to the second phase called scanning. In this scanning, they will try to go for scanning of the networks, scanning of the ports, and after scanning of the network and port, they will try to identify the services which are running on these ports and networks. And remember, these activities are happening prior to the attack. That means this is only hunting around the bush. That means he will try to gain information on trial and error basis. Once he got the success in this trial and error activity, then based upon that success, he will go for next step, and he will sketch the next step. So that reason, the reconnaissance phase and next scanning phase are the phases that are happened before launching of the attacks. So the reason these are said to be pre-attack phases, we can say. So in these phases, in this particular phase, especially like scanning phase, attacker will try to scan the network for specific information. Especially the information is like this: what are the active systems in the network? What is the operating system that is running on the network computers, and what type of routers they use. Okay, these kind of things. Next, they will go for scanning of the ports, because ports are the entry point for any attacker to enter into any system. So that reason, they will go through the ports. Technically speaking, they will try to identify what are the TCP ports, what are the UDP ports, and what are the active ports, what are the closed ports, open ports, whether the firewalls is available or not. Okay, these kind of things are going to be performed. Especially they use some mapping tools like network mappers or pinging tools. Just they will try to ping the ports, and they will try to identify what are the services that are running on the ports. Like for example, HTTP service that usually 8080 or 8080 port will be binded to the web services like HTTP services. So like that, what are the different ports that are open and closed? Okay, these kind of information they try to gather. Once they perform this network scanning and port scanning, and by identifying the services, they will extract the technical information. What are the technical information? Like what are the live missions, and how far they are live, and from how long they are live in that particular organization, and how frequently they are using. That is, the employees are using the computers, and what are the operating systems that are running on these machines, and what is the system usually uptime, and what is the device type, and what is the hardware that is used in the system. These kind of technical information they try to extract in this particular scanning phase. So in the first phase, they will try to get the general information, and in the second phase, they will go in deep by filtering the general information, and they will try to get the technical information, and they will move on to the third phase. So in the third phase, gaining the access. Anyhow, in the previous phase, that is in the scanning phase, they come to know most of the technical information. That means which service is active, which service is binded to which port, and what are the IP addresses that are active, what is the system uptime, downtime, hardware information, etc. Once they get in this information, they will try to gain the access into the services that are running on the ports. So for this, what they will do is identifying and exploiting the vulnerabilities. So whenever they know what is the service running on the port, obviously they will search for related vulnerability about the particular service. So in this, they get the information like what is the operating system running, and what type of applications running in that particular system, if the operating system is known, what is the version of the operating system, whether the operating system is very old and when it is updated. This kind of information they will try to gain in the scanning phase. Based upon that, they will go through the vulnerability databases. They will identify, is there any vulnerability present in that particular version of the operating system or in the particular version of the application, and this kind of information they will get from the vulnerability database. Once they get the vulnerabilities from the databases, or if they identify any vulnerability, they will try to exploit that vulnerability to launch any security attack. We have seen in the previous video that is, vulnerability is a gap or a weakness in the application. So they will try to get the particular weakness, or they will try to capture the particular loophole available in the particular system, and they will try to exploit it. Once they exploit it, they will gain the access into the computer, or they will gain the access into the network. Once they get the access into the network, they may perform the attacks such as password cracking or privilege escalation. That means they will enter into the system as a normal user and they will try to gain the super user privileges. So this way of gaining the privilege of the super user by entering as the normal user is said to be privilege escalation. Once the normal user becomes the super user or administrator, then he is having the complete control of the system or network. So in the same way, in this way, this particular hacker or intruder will gain the access. In the previous video, we have seen threats may be occurred in 3 levels. One is at the host level, one is at the OS level, that is operating system level, another is at the application level. So in the same sequence, attacker will also search for any vulnerabilities available at the OS level. They will search it first. If they don't find any vulnerability, they will identify, is there any vulnerability at the host level? They will check for that. Once, if they don't find any vulnerability, then they will check for the application level. So in this way, they will make a sketch or they will make a plan of moving or searching for the vulnerabilities on the target system. Once these vulnerabilities are identified, these vulnerabilities will be exploited, and the attacker or hacker will try to gain the control of the system. The ultimate aim of gaining the access is to maintain this access. That means unless until attacker don't maintain the access to the computer for a long time or for certain amount of time, he cannot extract the information from the system, or he cannot perform the required attacks that he planned. So that is the reason in maintaining the access that is in the phase 4 or step 4 of the hacking activity, the attacker will try to maintain the ownership of the system. Once he maintains the ownership, he is having the full control of installing the backdoors or trojans or rootkits, so that by exploiting these backdoors, trojans and rootkits, he will try to launch attacks. So these backdoors, trojans and rootkits will help him to gain continuous access to the target system from the target system, so that whenever he want, he can connect to the system, or he may get the required information whenever he want from the system. So this is what they called maintaining the access. This will happen in the step 4, because he got into the system and gained the access into the system and maintained the access. Obviously, these activities sometimes may be discovered by the security analysts or information security auditors. Thereby, what will happen? The organization network or the system user will become alert and will try to disconnect from the internet or maybe from organization network, and they will try to identify what are the losses happened because of this particular hacking activity. So to hide from these discoveries, the attacker will try to hide the attacking tracks that was done from the phase 2 to phase 4. That means what are the activities done from the phase 2 to phase 4 will be uncovered, will be covered by the hackers. That is in the step 5. This is called hiding track. So once the hiding track was successful, any information security auditor or security analyst may not find the exact path from which this attacker entered into the system, and will cause it the damage. So these kind of things cannot be discovered in the security audit phase. So in order to do that, the attacker will perform this particular hiding of the tracks. So in this stage, finally, the attacker will try to hide from these above 3 phases like scanning, gaining access, and maintaining access. A simple example is in scanning. Whenever you use a open source tool like Nmap for network mapper, we can say Nmap is the network mapper. Nmap tool is a free and open source tool which can be used for scanning purpose. Whenever this Nmap tool is used, basically this Nmap tool will produce huge traffic on the target system. So if the target system consisting of a network scanning, network sniffing tool like Wireshark, the Wireshark will produce huge traffic all of a sudden onto the network, or will recognize the huge traffic on the computer, that is target computer especially. With that information itself, the user will come to know that somebody is performing scanning on my computer. By taking my computer as the target system, somebody is performing the scanning activity. So thereby the user will become alert, or the target or victim will become alert. So in this way, this is the one thing that whenever the scanning tool is used, obviously it is producing huge traffic, and thereby the target machine or the victim machine will identify if the tools like Wireshark or this kind of things were installed, then they will easily identify huge traffic is producing and somebody is targeting the victim's machine. So in this way, this particular activity will be recognized. So the reason, the main aim of the attacker, once he maintains the access or gain the access, is cleverly clearing the tracks or hiding the tracks so that no security auditor can detect these particular tracks. Once they detect these tracks, obviously they will close those ports and those particular applications, or they may upgrade, or they may do some other countermeasures so that attacker again cannot enter into the system. He has to find some other path for which he need to spend a lot of energy and time to gain the access to the target system. So that reason, this last phase is also equally important as the above 3-4 phases. So these are broadly the hacking phases.
So to summarize this video, first we started with the discussion on the classification or categorization of the hackers. Basically, based upon the proficiency of the hacker, the type of hacking classification will be done. So then we have seen the internet and vigorous use of internet like digital payments, social media are the root causes of the hacking, because as a normal user, hacker will also enter into the network and will try to perform the hacking activity on the target machine or target network. So these are the concepts we have seen previously. And also an important concept such as phases of hacking also seen. By and large, any hacker will follow these phases. First, he will try to gather the information. With the information he gathers, he will use some network-based tools to gain the information on the network that he targets. Like what are the ports opened, what are the ports closed, what are the services that are running on these ports. These things will be identified. Once he identifies these things, then with the service and service description that was identified in the scanning phase, he will try to get the details of any vulnerability present in those services. Once he identifies any vulnerability, he will try to exploit the vulnerability to gain the access of the target machine. Once he gains the access to the target machine, then he will try to install the backdoors, trojans, and rootkits to maintain this access and to connect to the target system whenever he wants to connect. So finally, to escape from or to escape from the security audits, he will try to hide the tracks that he entered into the system, because he want to connect or he want to connect again and again to the target machine to get more information. But during the security audits, if these tracks were identified, then the security auditor may suggest countermeasures and the organization may follow it. So hence, to not to leak out the traces, so he will try to hide the tracks that in what way he entered into the organization network or a personal computer. So these are the various hacking phases. So we'll discuss remaining concepts in the next video.